Ah, you finally made it. Without crashing, I hope. The first checkpoint that you crossed was the Holy Cross Church, and that's your official start. Anyways, up ahead you'll see a stretch where traders used to haggle over everything from cardamom to cinnamon back when this place was buzzing with activity. Now? Well, let's just say time hasn't been the kindest. Back in the 1200s, the Vaishyavanis ruled the trade game in Kerala. And if you're sitting here thinking, who are the Vaishyavanis? Well, they're part of the Konkani community. In 1341, Kerala got hit with a massive flood because apparently history just loves to shake things up, just like this road does. And from all the chaos, Bazaar Road rose up as a key spice trade hub. Great for business, sure, but also kind of a giant come invade us sign for the foreign powers. And well, you can guess what happened next. Fast forward a few centuries and we have got the Portuguese, the Dutch and the British all showing up like it's some kind of a colonial house party. Everyone wanted a piece of the spice trade and let's just say things got messy. Just ahead, if you can manage to keep your head up for 5 whole seconds, you'll see the Lady of Life Church. Holy Cross and Lady of Life stood as twin beacons of faith when Mattancherry was a thriving trade hub. You, however, might need divine intervention just to make it down this road without face planting. It is undeniable that Bazaar Road is dying. The only remnants of the golden era? A handful of weathered shopkeepers running what's left of the wholesale spice trade. Some locals still try to keep the road up by rebuilding old structures, but they are unaware of the fact that they are slowly chipping away the only heritage that's left of the road. Oops, sorry. You might want to get used to it though, this will be happening quite often. Welcome to Jewtown Road. As the name suggests, it's pretty straightforward, don't you think? It's an antique lover's fever dream. Shops bustling with relics, spice-scented air, and oh, look, tourists haggling over things they definitely don't need. But hey, that's tradition too, and it's keeping up the trade over here. Let's stop right there. Now let's enter Synagogue Lane, and to be more specific, Sarah Cohen's home. Once her home, now a memorial plastered with memorabilia. Look around and find out what you can about Sarah Cohen, will you? She was one of the only 2 Jews Paradesi Jews, might I add, that lived in Synagogue Lane. The only other Paradesi Jew that still lives in this lane is Keith, who lives right next to the Mandalay Cafe. The lane almost feels European. Notice the contrast? This lane leads directly to the Paradesi synagogue. Built in 1568, a monumental testament to Kochi's layered Jewish heritage. Here's the lowdown. Malabari Jews, the ancient settlers whose history spans over a millennium. And then there are Paradesi Jews, the newcomers in the 1500s who enriched local trade until most eventually migrated back to Israel. But it's funny that most of the Jews that migrated back to Israel were actually Malabari Jews. And right at the end, behold the clock tower shared by the synagogue and Mattancherry Palace. It ticks away, binding these two histories together. Ooh, I bet you didn't know. Just off this path lies Chakkamadam. Wait, but that's a story for some other time. We'll keep that for later now. Oh, this road? No grand legends, no earth shattering history. Just keep pedaling, try not to fall asleep. Palace Road. Don't get too excited, we are not at the palace yet. First, you're entering the stronghold of the Tamil Brahmin community. Notice that there's something different about this street. Looks really traditional, right? With the white and red striped wall. That is the Tekkemadam Dharmasastha temple. This temple, with rituals unchanged for centuries, stands as a spiritual anchor. Fun fact! Tamil Brahmins here maintain their heritage with a grip tighter than you can manage on these handlebars. Now you're entering Gujarati Road. A slice of history dating back to the 1200s. The Vaishyavani were the original trade pioneers, but you have to know that the Gujaratis were a huge playing hand in this trade. The Gujarati merchants later elevated the game with family-run businesses that thrived for years together on spices, textiles, and all sorts of trade secrets. And fun fact, they love sweets. Now we are entering Jain Temple Road. The Jain temple here is modest and unassuming, a reflection of a philosophy that prizes restraint and balance over flamboyance. This quiet enclave is a stark reminder that not all legacies are built with spectacle. Sometimes the most enduring truths are found in simplicity. We are now headed down Tirumala Devaswam Road, the beating heart of the Konkani community. And before you wonder, no, the Konkanis here aren't just the Gauda Saraswat Brahmins. In fact, we are made up of not only one, not two, but four distinct groups which then formed into five, with the Saraswat Brahmins being the newest addition to the lot. The Konkani community first entered Kerala way back in the 1200s. The Vaishyavanis, just a few hundred of them, set up shop in the trade game. Then, during the Portuguese persecution in Goa, the rest of the community, yes, all three of the remaining groups, thousands of people, joined the party and shifted into Kerala. They built a thriving trade that lasted centuries until, sadly, riots in the 90s brought it all to a halt. Oh, and let's not forget the Gujaratis. These traders played a huge hand in Bazaar Road's spice trade back in the 1200s and the 1500s. And even today, they are a key force in transporting wholesale spices. But not as big of an influence as before, of course. Fascinating, isn't it? Now, let's dive into some divine drama. The Tirumala Devaswam temple here isn't just any temple. It's the sacred spot for the Konkani community. It's said that the temple's main deity was once the personal idol of King Krishna Devaraya. Yup, the king's own idol. But here's the kicker. 60 years after his reign, a saint supposedly found the idol lost in a well or maybe a pond, if you prefer the poetic version. The saint declared the power Tirumala worthy and entrusted it to the Gauda Saraswat Brahmins in Goa. Then, 60 years later, thanks to the great Portuguese persecution in Goa, the entire community had to flee into Kerala, idol in tow. When the Konkani community first shifted into Kerala, the local king even granted them free land to build a temple for this very idol. But wait, locals soon started worrying that every 60 years the idol might vanish. So, in a brilliant, if somewhat paranoid move, the community smuggled the idol into Alapura temple. Later, when the new king of Mattancherry demanded its return, the people of Alapura refused, convinced that the idol brought them luck and prosperity. And here we are, right at the temple's doorstep. Behold the domain of Tirumala Devaswam temple, where tradition isn't just kept alive, it's celebrated with every ritual and every stone. Now listen carefully while your pearls churn away. This temple is the very embodiment of tradition, stubbornly simple and unpretentious, refusing to modernize. And here's where it gets quirky. Remember that 60-year gap that we talked about? Every Kartika Masam, the idol is shifted into the Kolamandapam, an island-like structure set in the middle of a pond. They do this to ensure that technically the idol moves and doesn't get misplaced. Because apparently, every 60 years, it might just wander off. Alright, time to shift gears. Back onto Palace Road we go. But keep your eyes peeled, and along the way, let's talk more traditions. Now watch out ahead as you pass the Mangattamukku. You're entering the domain of Kapiri Muttappan. Now, don't panic if you catch a flickering lamp or feel the air drop a couple of degrees. Legend has it that Kapiri Muttappan is the lingering spirit of an ancient slave, forever caught between life and death. His presence is subtle yet unmistakable, a reminder that in Mattancherry even the ghosts have character. And speaking of legends, here comes another twist. The story of Nehemiah Mota. His grave tucked away in Chakkamadam is the last remnant of Kochi's once vibrant Jewish community. Nehemiah ben Abraham Mota, a 16th century mystic, left behind an aura so enigmatic that the Malayalam horror film Ezra drew heavy inspiration from his legend. So if you feel a chill, don't worry, it's just history sending shivers down your spine. Most of the Jews that left for Israel were Malabari Jews, leaving behind a solitary tomb that whispers secrets of a bygone era. And now we approach the grand finale, Mattancherry Palace. Before you get lost in its faded glory, here's the lowdown. Built in 1555 by the Portuguese as an apology gift to the Kochi Raja, yes, they knew how to make an entrance. This palace later came under Dutch influence, which only added to its electric charm. Today, its majestic relic is framed by intricate murals and a tapestry of Portuguese, Dutch, and local styles, a living testament to centuries of royal intrigue and cultural exchange. As you approach, soak in every detail. This isn't just a building, it's a living archive of cultural, royal drama, and a dash of delightful eccentricity. Enjoy the ride and try not to let all this history overwhelm you. You only have a brief moment. Make it count.